Okay, so live TV.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy? Didn't enjoy?
I enjoyed the research, honestly.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just fun because I don't watch too much TV.
Yeah.
So researching different shows, looking at how they're made, researching the TV guide.
Yeah.
Just having a look at all that was interesting. The numbers of viewers.
I always find the research for Unit 10 a little bit strange when it comes to marking because everyone's kind of looks the same, whereas in the other units they're obviously all really different. But obviously because the focus is supposed to be on audience, it was like you say, an interesting way of looking at actually the audience behind programmes rather than just the makeup of programmes.
Yeah.
What about in terms of the actual production? Obviously you face lots of issues, but...
The actual production of making it? Wasn't too bad, you know, being a light manager. It was kind of fun being in the gallery, changing the lights. The lights weren't the best because they weren't positioned physically down there, so I didn't like that. But
I said to Chris in his feedback, and I said your name because it applies to you. I kind of feel like when it got to the live shows that you kind of felt a bit redundant in relation to your skill set. And I think that's the only downfall of when you do a class production, because it's that difficulty as a teacher of trying to pick roles with certain, so people that need to improve communication, give them the big roles. But then there's people like you that would naturally be happy in any role. But then I think because you was then the only person in that gallery, it was kind of just a bit like, what's Konstantin doing up there? Like, but I'm glad that you still managed to take it and you enjoyed it. Yeah. Okay. Right, in relation to research portfolio then, you begin by looking at existing live TV formats. This is accurate in discussion and use of examples. And I've said this to a few people. I think because this is the first thing that you did, the level of application of actual production techniques wasn't as detailed as it was when I then go further down and look at the shows that are similar to yours somewhere down here. Yeah? In all these bits. Yeah, you just didn't put the video. So next to all of these. Like this is exceptionally detailed in relation to all the production values and the audience. But I think because this is just more like a definition, it isn't as defined. But it was really accurate. So I put the remainder of your research portfolio is excellent in execution, the details drawn from your TV listings, Barb, YouGov, competitor analysis, etc. is all significant in detail and application to your idea. You've included research commentary so I can understand the direction of your research, and everything included has been brilliantly justified and linked. Really, really well done. I was really shocked when I got to your website at the amount that you'd written, and I know it's not all about quantity, but actually, you've said to me I enjoyed the research, I can see why you wrote so much, because you're really gaining an appreciation for why things are the way they are. So that was really impressive. The segmentation of your target audience is also brilliant. You've used all the systems of classification. In the future, this is me just thinking about pushing you, rather than just saying, this is my target audience. I think it's down here where you've got, she says, can I remember where it is? Where you've literally kind of like listed who the target audience is. Here. So this is fantastic. This shows me that you have clearly understood all of the systems, including the new one for Mosaic. But what I'd like to see now, and this kind of applies to your pitch as well, justify to me why these people have been picked. So, for example, the age category is 21 to 30, and therefore their socioeconomic scale is going to be E, because at this stage of their development, they don't have lots of disposable income, they've just come out of education or whatever it might be. So
I think we did that. I think I did that.
In your pitch?
Yeah.
But here, can you justify it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Is that right? Yeah? So I put here, you justify in your pitch, move forward, I'd like to see it applied here. Okay. Yeah? Yeah. Now, in relation to recording of the audience profile and questionnaire, the actual recording is poor. I can hear wind. And dips in sound. It was almost like, when you're like, if I get a bit closer, I might hear it, but no. So just think about where you're going to record.
For sure.
But regardless of the practical element, the actual analysis of each question is in exceptional detail. You consider context in relation to each outcome and what that might mean to your idea. You personally offer some fantastic reasoning and steer the analysis brilliantly, while also allowing others to disagree and agree on points. So I said to Cameron that when I listened to that questionnaire analysis, it was very apparent that you was in control, and you were like, right, let's go on to this question. What might this mean? But you didn't take over, and that's a really, really nice leadership quality because you're getting the job done, but you allowed others to contribute. And I said to Cameron, I could almost sense that he was like, I need to put some input in here, and then Callum contributed, and it was really, really nice as a group discussion. I think it actually worked really well. You have a fine grasp of why you ask questions, and therefore why their responses may be interpreted in a particular way, which was good because generally students just analyse questions in relation to their responses and don't actually think about, well, what was I trying to get from this question? Whereas you kind of said, oh, we asked this question because, so this is probably why we got these answers. And then I've put, remember to use media language when discussing holidays. You don't use the socially scale terms that refer to people as rich or poor. Oh. So think about, I know what you're talking about, but think about, yes, because they're in E, B, etc. Okay. So moving forward, because as I've said to a few people, because it's obviously now year 2, distinction at year 2 is obviously a different to a distinction in year 1. Okay. So what I'm needing you to do in your research portfolio to get it to a strong distinction is, now it's difficult for this unit because as I said it was so structured, but moving forward, primary research needs to be more audience focused. So I'd like to see professional interviews, and I'd like to see audience selected focus groups, okay? And I'd like to see those at both stages. I'd like to see them here, and then I'd like to see them at the test screening stage, Okay. And you need to take ownership of that. So when it comes to specialist study, make sure in your primary research you have specialist information. Now that doesn't have to be a one-to-one interview. There's methods of getting it. It could be online, it could be a telephone call, it could be Skype, whatever. But there are experts, and they don't have to be celebrities or famous people. They can, you know, if I was making a project about being a successful YouTuber, I could interview you. Yeah. Okay. So just think about experts, because that primary research is really what's going to be the difference in Unit 13. And then, like I said, at the test screening stage in evaluations, making sure that off your own back you take ownership of getting feedback. So either obviously in the rough stages, then also in the final product, to use that to then inform your evaluation. Okay? That'll be good for this unit then. Yes, definitely. And then, test screening. Perfect. Yeah. And you've got time to do it as well. Definitely, so, remember the importance of research on every page of production. Now, you're usually really good at this, but I think because of the nature of this unit, again, and because it's the first one back, and then when I'm saying it, people are like, oh yeah, I remember when I used to do that. Just make sure. So this unit, again, don't do research that's forced. So what I mean is, for some people, I can say, when you get to post-production, watch some tutorials. That's difficult if you already know how to do these things. But your research element can come from these test screenings and getting feedback. So think about, I'm not asking you to fake research because it's not purposeful for you. So I would definitely go down more of how can I get feedback on what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah? Sounds good. And then lastly, I've put use journals, academic research and secondary research sources. Now, this was difficult in the past because the library is very... and obviously we do have Google Books, but Michael has just got the library to purchase 2 brand new media production books. So make sure when it gets to research, you just go and look at the books and put them in your sources, because they're good books, yeah? Okay. So that's that. Then we move on to... I'll use this lovely button that you put in. Pre-production. Okay, so proposal, I'm not going to open it, but proposal is exceptionally detailed in approach. You've written in third person, and this makes the proposal highly effective and enjoyable to read. Now, I know some people find this quite difficult to do, but it reads really, really well, so well done. And what's nice is when I read it, I can hear you and you sound excited about the idea, but clearly passionate about it, which is good. That's good. You did on this page provide research into your role and detailed lighting plans, so well done. I think some of the light plans should have been experimented with during rehearsals to really make sure they were fit for purpose. Yeah. Yeah? And then in relation to graphics, I think because it was an additional role, again, there's no planning of the graphics, it's just here are the graphics. Yeah. So there's just a few things that I think that if you really thought about it, they could have been on the website, yeah? In relation to rehearsals, studio lights were turned on prior to director's countdown. Communication between the gallery and the floor was tested timely. So, as I said, it was awkward, but
Yeah.
You did a best of a bad of a really bad situation. LED lights with colour filters were all checked for the director's countdown. You were instructed to turn on and off the studio lights between each segment, and this was achieved well. There were issues with lighting on the left-hand side of the set prior to live, but this was resolved quickly and efficiently. And I don't know if you noticed, but I did put this in your production feedback. When I watched the live, the edits, some of the lighting in some of the scenes needed a bit of TLC. Now, you spent time in post because I read it in your evaluation, but some of the guests needed more light. Because obviously, as skin range changed when people come on set, we needed more light and less light and so on. And it was quite noticeable as the guests changed that there was a few issues with lights.
Even just adjusting the lights, because we didn't have a technician at that time.
Yep.
So they were all positioned really badly.
Yes.
Yeah.
The studio lights.
Yes.
Yeah. But you did make sure, because remember after the rehearsals I said to you, make sure those, or Chris communicated to you, make sure those lights go on and down for each segment to make it kind of look like we're back after adverts, and you responded really well to that, and it was done really well. In relation to your graphics, you created a number of fantastic graphics, I know, alongside Alan to support the production, and they reflected the content of the theme of the show brilliantly. And having watched everyone's edits, although people use them differently, because most people just use them on the graphic screen, like a title screen, whereas obviously yourself and Chris had them flying in, as I like to call it, in a lower third. So that was really, really nice. I just think in relation to communication, you and Alan kind of like, you did your bit, he did his bit. No, and then when you were absent, or well, you was on your work experience, we then realised there was something that hadn't been done. And it's a bit like, he looked at me, I was looking at your empty seat, and it's a bit like, well, I don't know. So then Alan kind of just did it, but it was a bit, there was a lack of communication, I think, in relation to what was actually going on there.
Definitely,
Your final edit has been really well prepared, as always. I like your decision to include the additional banners at the start of each game. These are really, really effective. I've then noted about the lights, but we've just discussed that. I just need greater attention to production log, so I put it at merit/distinction because I'm trying to be really harsh on how important this production log is. Because it's something that she picked up on needing, or something that she would like. And I think for you, actually, it'll be even more beneficial because you do lots of things that sometimes even go over my head. And it's not until I've read the evaluation that I think, oh, God, how much time does he spend doing that? So Alan, for example, spoke to me about, he had his banners come in and they almost tracked the presenters. So as the presenters moving, like the names kind of tracked them. But he spent hours trying to get one to track Shania on this particular scene, but he couldn't get it to work because whatever the issue was. But I would know that from the final. I'd just say you've done this, but you haven't done it for Shania. So until I see this production log, so it's actually really important, and I think it's an opportunity for you to show off. So make sure that you're showcasing all of the techniques that you use.
Post-production log.
Post-production log. So when you move into editing or anything you do in post-production, make sure it's logged. Now, someone asked me earlier if it could be a quick time. I have no issue with that if you could then add in some titles of what techniques you're using throughout the video. Because although I obviously have the job of listening to hour-long evaluations and all sorts, when they come in, they're only here for a day. So anything we could do to make their life easier, and especially because obviously now I'm going to get the work graded in May, but they still won't come in until July. So when they come in, I'm not going to be here to pop in and be like, yes, have you seen how amazing Konstantin did here? So anything we could do to make it really just make sure it's all completely logged.
Sense,
Oh, and then you mentioned about the fact that you put the same clip.
Yeah,
but I went back through and I was like, where? I couldn't find it.
At the end, after she was finished singing, Callum comes in and Shania had to finish it off.
Oh, do you know why? It's because I looked at the bit before the music. I thought you meant as in the bit where they're saying goodbye, and I was thinking, I watched it like 3 times. I was like, am I being silly? I can't see anything that's not the same. Like repeated.
It looks natural when they do it, as if he's repeating it, but it was a mistake.
Right, okay. Your website is forever professional, organised, and navigates fully. And in relation to if someone came in and was trying to work out what like this would be, that is so clear as to what I'm asking you to do in each thing, and everything's clearly organised, everything's where it's meant to be, everything always works, all the links work, so really good. in relation to presentation and pitch, again, always fantastic and exemplary in the way it's delivered as well, so well done. You also considered in your live TV show the thumbnail. Because someone was saying to me that YouTube now is not allowing you to add your own thumbnail. So, you know, in the past you could change the thumbnail. But I liked this, whereas some people just had like a sort of...
They should allow. It should still be there.
Something to do with how many subscribers
It depends on
you've
your
got,
account. Yeah.
That's why
Right. But you can get verified accounts by just
Easy,
letting them
by
send you a
just-
number. Pardon?
Is it?
So you have 500.
Not on that one.
Oh.
Not on that account.
Yeah, unless you verified it before that.
I use a different
Oh.
account for. Oh,
So
I might have.
that's something we need to look into moving forward. But if you do have the issue going forward, I mean,
Yeah.
you haven't here, what I've said to everyone is just here, export what your thumbnail would be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then you're not losing marks, because although
Yeah.
you can't help it, the program won't let you do it, but just let me see next to what it is
That's
you're going to do.
fine,
Yeah? Right, let's talk about evaluations then. So I think it's on this page.
The final evaluation.
No, this one. Right, so evaluations for you have never been an issue, and I'm not saying they are now an issue, but we are now having to apply this action plan that I've been speaking about.
Yeah.
It's because it's an extra criteria compared to year one. So year one doesn't mention anything about action plans, career developments, but every single unit for the second year in the evaluation box, it has this extra criteria which says about this action plan.
Okay.
So in relation to pitch evaluations and the overall evaluation, you need to do exactly what you're doing, plus add more detail to the action plan or the what you're going to do next. Because in your overall evaluation, you wrote something like, I hate settings, or don't follow targets, or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
But this will be my target. But it needs to be really explicit. So what I'm going to do for this
that.
project,
That's difficult.
I'm going to make a template,
Yeah.
and which you will all be forced to fill in, but it will have columns,
Mm-hmm.
date, what you need to improve, how that turns into a target, how you're going to do it, when you're going to achieve it by. So if we start that, and then you can start filling it in for each.
Okay.
So for this unit, we'll start it for overall evaluation.
Yeah.
Next unit, we'll do it, I'll hand it to you right at the beginning, so it'll be the same template,
Yeah.
and you can fill it in as you go for pitch evaluation and so on. So then all of your targets will be on there.
It's going to be difficult.
And then, I know.
Targets for me. No.
But I think what we need to do is you need to think about targets need to be written in relation to the skill that you're improving. So, for example, I need to improve my presentation skills
Yeah.
by ensuring I screenshot my thumbnail on my post-production page. That's a target, yeah? Because that's responding directly to what I've just told you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fine. I can help you with that. So your production diaries have been brilliantly prepared. Great use of image and wording to excite and encourage the audience. Well done. And you were also another person that she obviously was stealing all your stuff to put onto the college site. But what we need is comparison to professional products in more detail. You used to be brilliant at this, but really, really detailed. Yeah. So relate that live TV show to some of the shows we analysed at the beginning.
Okay.
Action plan we've spoken about, and I've put here opinions of externals, but we spoke about that in detail about test screenings and how you're going to get those opinions.
Yeah.
All right. So at the moment it's looking like this. So research I've put here, but there's definitely secondary was elements of definitely here. But the independently identified and thorough sustained research is going to come from that really strong primary research.
Okay.
Yeah. Problem solving and context, I put grades across because it was a group project. So the context obviously was for the show, so in delivering a live TV show. I don't think we can put comprehensive because there were, regardless of the technical issues that you guys face, there were some issues with the context.
fine,
And
yeah.
there's kind of like everyone kind of had a role to play in that. Planning and production, and practical skills, evaluation, reflection, and presentation. Now that one I put here because your website is always obviously thorough, the pitch, etc. The action plan I spoke about here.
Yeah.
The practical skills and the planning is the production log.
Okay.
That's what's going to put you there, because
That's fine, yeah.
it's, see here, in-depth understanding, and then the other one was detailed and coherent self-directed planning. That's what I need from the production log. Yeah,
I'm surprised it's even the merit for
Are
this
you?
project, yeah.
really, really good.
I'm surprised.
Oh, well, then that's good then. But what we do need to be doing is thinking about how we can get, because obviously this is where
Yeah.
I need you to be, and I know you want to be. And regardless of what you want to do next year, it's about leaving with what you know you're capable of. Yeah? But I don't see you as a sort of student that's going to be like, I just need to pass now. I think you want to leave with the best because you don't anything you do. Yeah. So, have you thought about FMP? Dare I ask?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Okay. So next project is going to be specialists.
Yeah.
And that is a stepping stone to FMP. It don't have to be directly linked, but what you do is you're going to pick the area that you want to go into.
Yeah.
And what you're going to be doing is looking at a debate within that area and creating a product that showcases that debate. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, you picked film, because you know at FMP are going to make a film. You may look at a debate about the fact that the Oscars are white. Yeah, that's a big debate in film, that there's too many representation of white actors and actresses at the Oscars. You could research into that debate and you're going to present to me what you've learned about this topic. The product you then make is maybe a film of an entire black cast.
Okay.
Yeah? So that's what specialist study is going to be about, and then that will then lead to your FMP.
Yeah.
So there's a link, but not a massive, because things can change. You could have 5 weeks of specialist study and think, what the hell am I doing? Just start to think, while this project's going on, over Christmas, start to think what the end goal might be, because specialist is going to be 5 weeks, and then we're going straight into FMP. So just start to be thinking about it now. I assume it's not going to be a music video.
No.
I don't know, YouTube-ness, film, TV. Happy for people to work into groups.
It can be anything, right? Anything.
It could be documentary, it could be game show, it could be ident production. You could do, a if you wanted to do something more, I say computer-based, but you know what I mean. You could do portfolios of idents, etc. It can be anything.
I could have an idea. Yeah.
Alan made a game in level 2, but just whatever you pick. Obviously, if you're going to pick something like game, Alan did that because Carl had him at the time and could help him.
Yeah.
That's definitely not my specialism. Michael's specialism is obviously photography, Premiere Pro, filming, etc. So that's
perfect.
Expert that you've got.
I have an idea.
Okay.
When we leave college,
Yep.
I have an idea for a business. I'm
Okay.
starting.
Right.
Family business.
Cool.
Which is about media.
Yep.
Media production company.
Okay.
So during the research for that, they could work out as an FMP for FMP.
Okay.
So it could help me in
the end product.
Yeah.
Start to think about it. What my job is to help you formulate that into a project, so I know what exactly you're doing and what I'm grading and what you're producing. And then we'll go from there. Just start to think about it in the back of your head. Yeah.
Okay.
But well done. I'll go and get this for you because obviously I've